In this video here, I'm going to be showing you all about intercepts here, specifically Y-intercepts and X-intercepts. So Y-intercepts are where does the line cross the y-axis. I also want you to notice when x equals 0, so here's when x equals 0, right? That's where the y-axis happens. So when you let x equal 0, you can solve for the y or the y value that is the y-intercept where the function will hit on the y-axis. Same thing for the x-intercepts. If you want to find the x-intercept, you're going to set y equal to 0 and solve for x, and that will help you find the x-intercept. Here's the most important part that students tend to forget about intercepts. Intercepts are coordinates. Write them as coordinates. So when you're writing a y-intercept, the x value should always be 0. And then if you're writing a x-intercept, the y value should always be 0. So please write your intercept as coordinates because they are points on a graph where it hits the x or y axis. All right, let's do an example here to help you practice finding x and y intercepts and then being able to graph them. So in this case here, we have a linear equation. This is actually in standard form is what we call it, where x's and y's are both on one side. So if you're wanting to find the y-intercept, you have to plug in 0 for x. Pretty easy. All I have to do here is go to the equation, plug in 0 for x, and rewrite the equation again, solve this out, but this part's already canceled because 0 times anything is 0, so it disappears. 7y drops down. You don't have to worry about the plus side anymore because if you add 0, that's just 0, or itself. So in this case here, I just dropped everything down. I'm going to divide by 7. So my y here is 2. 14 divided by 7 is 2. And so it looks like in this case, I have a y-intercept at 0, 2. So 0 was my x value, 2 was my y value because I had to solve for the y. And that's my y-intercept. Now for the x-intercept, I'm going to do very much the same thing, but this time I'm going to make my y here 0 and solve this out. So that cancels. You have 2x equals 14. I have to divide by 2 to get rid of this 2. And x here is equal to 7 because 14 divided by 2 is 7. And so my my x-intercept here is 0, 7, 0 because I plugged in 0 for my y. So that my y here is going to be 0, whereas the x that I solved for is going to be right here. Now, once you have your y and x intercepts, we can easily plot that on a graph. I just want to remind everyone, typically when you are graphing a line, you want at least 2 points on the graph. And so in this case, if you have 2 points, you're going to have a more sturdy line when you draw one because you're basically going to connect the dots. So for this case, 0, 2 is going to be right here. And 7, 0 is right about here. So 7 and then y, 0 would be right there. And so I'm going to just connect the dots and do my best to graph this line. So typically when you're graphing a line, you want 2 coordinate points. But that's how you graph and find your x and y intercept to make a line. That's it, guys. Bye.